part 2 of 2, and we pick up exactly where we left off from part 1.
On training partner notes, like, I know we're talking mainly about like the running aspect and everything, but I do want to give a shout out to the fact that I have some amazing training partners for kickboxing as well. Between the girls class and the guys class, it's pretty spectacular to work with people like that too. It's a whole different scenario than running.
And you're still training with them too, right? Or are you're still able to, correct?
Yes, as soon as the gyms were opened up, I was back at kickboxing for it because I needed it. I missed it. I missed my gym people.
How long were you off from actually kickboxing training with your friends? Do you know?
Okay, so I would have been off kickboxing probably from March till end of June, early July.
Yeah, I bet that didn't go over well.
And it was your body definitely felt the difference going back in the training.
Is there any kind of an emotional response when you go back after that much time off? I mean, it's not like it was time you wanted to take off. It's not like you were like, hey, I want to take some time off. It wasn't like that at all.
I was so excited to see my kickboxing people. Like, you have no idea. I love my running peeps and everything, but then I also have my category of kickboxers, and they're just as important to me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fantastic.
Coach Brian, you walk in the gym door and Coach is there, and he is just happy vibes. Hey, how are you? Like, let's get going. And most of the time since I've started back to kickboxing, I've been paired with Brian, and it's really great to get one-on-one work with the coach, because if I ever get my own fight, he's going to be in my corner, and he's going to be the one that will be training me along with others.
Oh, so you already know who your corner is going to be then. That's good.
I would assume that Coach Brian's going to be in the corner.
Right. And since we're talking about kickboxing, and this is something I wanted to ask you last time, and I mean, we got into some other things, and it just kind of slipped my mind, really.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you about footwork for kickboxing, because I'm assuming, because your last time we were talking about power,
yeah,
and you were saying how you get your power, like, and you're watching other people's power, you're watching their hips and how they're moving and their footwork to a certain degree. And that kind of tells you where they're going to lead with their strike, or when they're going to strike, I guess is more the point. So how do you train your footwork? What do you do for that? And do you train often for footwork, or is that just kind of something that's off to the side every once in a while? I'll examine it, or...
Oh, no, during your combos and when we're working in class, you're working your footwork as just as much as your arms and your legs. In order to do a proper kick, the foot that's staying on the ground, it has to pivot, it has to move a certain way in order for you to get your leg to go a certain way. Even when you throw a punch, your foot is moving. If you go to throw a hook, say you throw your left hook, your left foot is pivoting, so your toe is pointing towards the right.
Very interesting.
It is one thing, like, we have done certain workouts where it's focusing more on your footwork, like you're moving around with your partner more than you normally would. But in hindsight, we're always working our feet, even though we're not being told to. You learn as you go that if you move your feet and legs a certain way, you're going to get more power, or you can get out of the way easier. Just little tidbits like that, if that made sense.
Right. Oh, yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
It does. Okay. It's interesting.
Yeah, I never realized how many little details was in kickboxing until I started training.
And you're always barefoot, correct?
Yes.
Is there any time when you're training where you're not barefoot, or do they even always train barefoot?
We're in the gym in our bare feet. Sometimes we'll put socks on if you feel like you're going to slip on the floor easier. Some people just like wearing socks in gyms anyways, but I'm always barefoot.
Right. And I bet being barefoot in the gym training, you must be able to feel every little movement in the floor, like with your feet, like every little muscle. You must be able to feel between your foot and your leg and the floor, and when you're moving. It must be really interesting. And
it is, and it's a different experience. Like, it's hard to explain like how it feels when you hit or kick perfectly on that one, or like as perfect as you can, and you're like, man, okay, that worked, let's try it again. and it's just adrenaline, a different kind of adrenaline.
And then to replicate that takes a whole bunch of training
Oh yes,
to be
yes.
consistent.
It was just this past, well, I guess it was right after Labor Day weekend. It was 2 years for me training there, and I still have so much to learn.
Well, you haven't really been at it for that long,
No,
I'm guessing. I mean, there's so much to learn and every muscle movement, and I can just imagine.
yeah, and I don't always get there. Like there's nights that I can't get to class due to like if it's wintertime, it could be storming, or like the last few weeks it seems to be I have meetings or appointments on nights that kickboxing is happening. So yeah, I don't always get there when I want to, but I get there as much as I can.
Well, yeah, well, that's all you can do. I mean, everybody's schedule's busy. You can only do so much. And you're always busy, Miss 3 a.m., 3:30 in the morning, get up and go. Let's do
Hey, the alarm went off
27
at
things.
3:15 this morning, not 3.
Oh, 3:15. Oh,
I got
darn.
extra 15 minutes there.
Did you find another farm to go to with that 15 minutes?
No.
Because 2's not enough, right?
Yeah, 2's not enough. I mean, hey, I've got some free time. Let's go do another one.
Before I started working at the machine shop, I was working on 2 different farms, and then I relief milked on 2 other farms. So
holy crap!
Yeah, I was always on the go no matter what,
Well,
even
you're
before
still
I
on
started
the go.
training. What, Diane?
You're still on the go.
Yeah, just different.
Just
different
Does the
reasons.
machine shop help to maybe bring some sort of normalcy to this chaos a little bit? Like, does it slow things down a little bit for you?
Not really. It just
No?
changes my schedule up because I'm at the machine shop for 10 to 12 hours in a day.
Oh my word.
Yeah. And
Well,
then,
the 10 to 12 hour thing, I know where you're coming from there.
exactly, yeah.
I've got that, but I'm not working at 3:30 in the morning at the farms, so you got me beat by miles.
I do
No,
enjoy
no.
my 8-hour workday.
Someday, Diane, I'll have that someday. Where I'm at right now, my friend that is letting me use her laptop for this, she's sitting here and she milks cows with me too. So she understands the pain of getting up early in the morning.
So what time are you getting up tomorrow morning?
Tomorrow morning I'll be up for 3:15 again.
Oh, I'll be up with you. I start baking bread at 4:00, so I'll be up with you.
Just thinking about, because we were talking about, training and kickboxing and stuff, and last time we had discussed, you were playing your entrance in your mind, like, the smells, the sounds, the sights, the whole bit. And you and I both, kind of get to that point where we're sensing things where we can see it in our minds. Yep. And I wanted to ask you, because we were talking about music, entrance music. Do you already know the music that you would have playing when you enter the ring for your first match?
Actually, yes. And it's probably silly to be already saying what I want at this point, but like if I get my first fight and if I get to choose my walkout music, I would love to find someone. I might actually come to you for this, John, because you're a techie person. I would love to put the 2 songs, Champion by Carrie Underwood and Do It Like a Dude by Jessie J, and mix them somehow.
I love that song Champion by Carrie Underwood.
Yes, and then
I think about it. I play it in my mind sometimes when I'm running, even though I'm no champion, but it's still a good song.
It's a great song.
You'll have to look up the other song, though, called Do It Like a Dude by Jessie J.
Okay, well, I'm going to jot it down because my recording program here can mix songs.
Well, we might have to work on something then if this occasion arises in the near future.
Just a follow-up to that, is there any chance that something could happen that would change your mind in the song you would play? Like maybe your mood is just different, or maybe your opponent, or maybe the season, or just the way you feel? Is this is kind of stuck in your mind now? This is what you're going to go with?
It's a possibility, but I don't think so. It's been stuck in my head since I decided to start training.
Yeah, it's probably not going to change. If you're anything like I am, once I get these things stuck in my mind, it's just like a splinter.
Yeah.
It just won't go away until I do it.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't get rid of it, and I have to just capitulate and go for it. So.
And I can't wait to hear it. And I know that, Shawna, you're on the board of directors for Run New Brunswick.
Yes.
And I'm just wondering, what do you think the 2021 race season will be?
Oh, that's a really interesting question.
And I know it's really early to call,
Yes,
And
it
at this
is.
point, it would all be speculation for sure. And I also want to know about you were the 2019 Super Series champion in your age division, correct?
And 2018.
Okay, so 2018 and 2019, you
Yes.
were the New Brunswick Super Series champion in your age.
Yes.
Will you be able to defend your title in 2021, do you think?
I hope so. I really hope so.
When will you move up to the next age group?
Not for a couple more years.
Okay.
I turned 28 in January, so I
Mhm.
still got a couple of years to go because it goes from 20 to 29, 30 to 39, and so forth.
Oh, you can outrun a 20-year-old.
I hope so. I really hope so because some of those girls have jet fuel for blood, I'm pretty sure.
Well, you just have to set fire to their jet fuel so that you can pass them.
Has Run New Brunswick actually been in conversation about 2021 yet, or is it too early for that?
We haven't really spoke much about what next year's race season's going to look like.
Well, everything's so uncertain right now.
Well, exactly. And to be honest, the board itself, like, we've kind of been quite quiet the last month or two because, well, I'm head of the club committee of it, and the only thing that's really taken off big time, besides like websites and whatnot, is the fact that the virtual race part, which is I do believe Marcia Kelly is in charge of, and
Okay.
she's in charge of the virtual races that's been going on for that Run New Brunswick puts on, and it's taken off big time. Like,
Yeah.
especially at the start of COVID, there was a lot.
Mhm.
We were impressed. Like, we were happy with the numbers that we were getting at the time.
Okay.
Now, I know that this KV run, a little over a week,
Mm.
well, it's not, I don't believe it's officially a Run New Brunswick thing, but does Run New Brunswick have anything to do with that run?
Not to my knowledge, but it could, and we just haven't had it talked about in our group emails. Like, it could be somehow tied in. I feel silly not knowing the full details, but to my knowledge, I don't know much about the KV race, so I'm gonna say no. It could be on the calendar.
I'm actually looking at the Run New Brunswick website right now, and the KV Marathon in Bloomfield on September 27th is listed as an
Okay,
upcoming event.
I was gonna say it probably is on our calendar. It's just no one really has been
Right.
talking about it on the group chat there.
I was reading all the rules, and they said, look, if you're not prepared to follow these rules, don't even bother coming. That was basically what
Pretty
it
much,
said
yeah.
in a nutshell. And it's telling us that you have to wear a mask while you're at the start line,
Yep.
and you have to wear gloves. But once you're racing, you can take the mask and the gloves off.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to try and keep, well, it doesn't say try. It says you have to keep a social distance of 2 meters between you and other participants in the run.
Which is gonna be so hard because you're gonna have so many runners of the same caliber in different groups running.
Well, I don't know how many people are actually going to be running. I'm not
I know, but
sure.
say if you did have like, or say there's 20 runners, and there's multiple of each speed category, you're gonna have people running side by side at some point.
Yeah.
Are they all starting at the same time, or is it
I'm
a
not 100%
delayed start?
sure.
The half marathon starts an hour later.
Okay,
Okay.
but everybody starts at the same time in the half marathon. There's not like a 10-minute delay.
No, not as far as I understood anyway when I read it.
Well, I'll be interested to hear how it goes, and you'll have to tell
Yes,
us
me
all about that.
too. My friend, if you see a girl named Carrie at the race, John, that's my kickboxing friend. She's running her first one.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, great. Well, I'll have to remember that.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to probably see 5 or 6 different carries there. Hey, are you? Oh, no. Whoops. Wrong carry.
She had a goal to run her first half marathon by the time she was 40, and so this is her goal.
Oh, that's fantastic. It's a great goal to have.
Yeah.
I can tell you that. Never too late to start either.
No, you're never too late to start. She just started. Diane, you were asking me about the summit, was it?
yes, that was my next question. That last year at the Women's Run Summit in St. John, you were a speaker.
Yes.
So tell us about that event and just tell us how your speech went.
to backstory that, in 2018 was the first ever women's running summit to be held, and Jen Lalonde was, I'm pretty sure she's the main organizer of it. Since I was in the top 5 for my category for Super Series that year, I got an email saying that they would like me to attend along with the other fast runners. And so I attended it. And I thought, while listening and watching Jen and Patty Blanchon and Shelley Doucette stand up in front of us and talk, I was like, man, that would be awesome. That would be just a thrill to go up and do that. That was 2018's session. And then I think it was back in like September of 2019 or October, I guess, maybe. I got a phone call from Mary Brosman, who was the president of Run New Brunswick at the time. And she called me and she's like, Shawna, the Women's Running Summit, it's being held in St. John at the new Oil Field House, and you're going to be speaking in it. And I was like, oh, okay. Like,
My goodness.
no question, just told like I was going to be speaking in it.
Were you terrified?
Well, I did 4-H growing up, so I'm used to doing public speaking.
Yes.
It's not really a big deal, I guess, to get up in front of people nowadays. So Mary's talking to me, and she's like, oh yeah, you're going to be speaking. There's going to be 2 other females around your age speaking, along with Jen and Shelley Doucette. I was like, okay, so who are these other 2 girls speaking, just to see if I knew them? And Mary's like, oh, we called them, but we're waiting for a response from them, say yes or no. And I'm like, wait a second, you just told me I don't get to say yes or no. She's like, no, you're automatic. I want you speaking. I was like, okay, this is even bigger now.
Uh-huh.
So there's 3 of us in our, I guess one of them, Victoria, she's, I think, early 20s, maybe. She's younger than me. And then I spoke, and there was Anouk Dorian. Do you guys know her, I assume?
I knew who she is.
Yeah, she was the 3rd speaker. And we each had our own topic to talk about. It wasn't the same topic for the whole summit. And Anouk talked about running and racing as a pregnant lady and also as a first-time mom. So she's an amazing runner when she's not running with a kid, let alone pushing a stroller. She's a superstar. And then Victoria got to speak about her track and field experience and how she's gotten many accomplishments during her career of high school and college and university. And then I was told to speak about starting later in life for running, and not necessarily age-wise, just the fact that I went from high school, not an athlete, to say, like, I played rugby, but I wasn't a runner. I just ran so I could tackle people, which is awesome. Like, that's why I like kickboxing, probably.
I want to tackle people.
Yeah. And so they wanted to know what my story was from going from non-athlete to starting running in 2017 to becoming champion female for my age group for New Brunswick 2 years in a row for 2018 and 2019. And it was an experience to get up there and talk to, I can't remember how many runners there was, but there was runners from across the province here in St. John just to listen to us talk. I got to talk about the running. I got to talk about my personal life in with it and how I've gotten to help people with it. And it was just an experience. And I would love to do something like that again. Like, I can't thank Mary and Jen and Shelley enough for giving me that experience.
That would be an incredible story that you have to share from being non-athletic as a youngster.
Yeah.
And then not until you became grown up and mature
Yeah.
that you became active and now the athlete that you are today.
Yeah, it's, and even I, as myself, I don't recognize some of the stuff I've done in the last 3 years because I didn't think I'd be at this point. I didn't think I'd be sitting here talking to you guys about running or kickboxing or anything. But look, it's hard work and determination, I guess.
Well, some people don't want to put in that hard work, but you do.
I don't really know where it all comes from, like the determination part, but it's just there's a drive there, John, and it's you just want to keep going.
Yeah. And some people don't want to talk about their success as an athlete, um, but you share your story and you're very inspiring. And a lot of people are motivated by you. And I think that's pretty cool. So I can't wait to see how what the response is to this
I
podcast.
I hope it's just as good because literally this is helping me become the girl I needed to be when I was younger, and well, that I needed in my life, I guess, is how it should be said.
Well, I think you've already done it.
I think so. And your confidence really comes through in this podcast, I think.
Thank you. You guys are always full of compliments, and I don't know what to say half the time.
Well, we're full of compliments, maybe, but it's not just to woo you or to, we're trying to get something out of you specific. It's because we really believe it.
And I appreciate that so much.
And because we can't afford to pay you.
Well, that. How about
That's
you
really
come
good, Diane.
come to the Dairy Dash or come down and run with me sometime? That'll do.
Oh, I wish I could. And maybe we'll see what my schedule
But
is like
not
that
just
week.
like if you can't make it that day, come down my way for a run sometime.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Same as
Yeah.
you, John, since you like hills.
As long as we go for chocolate ice cream after somewhere.
Oh, I'll make sure there's chocolate ice cream involved. Don't worry.
All right.
That-
See, I'm game. We can
That's
manage that.
easy. So I just want to ask you, we were just talking about how inspiring you are and how great you are at motivating people. I just want to know who motivates you.
Am I allowed to have more than one person?
You can have as many people. You don't have to be to work until 4 o'clock, right?
Yeah, true.
Talk all night. You can sleep tomorrow night.
Well, when you had sent me the list of like the just topics that we were going to talk about, and I seen that question, I want to say the first person that came to mind, and it's going to sound like corny and sappy probably, but like my grandmother off my dad's side.
Oh, I want to hear about her.
She was my rock growing up, pretty much. And when I started racing, and she never got to come to any of my races, but she would always, she's called me before, or I'd call her, or when I got the visit, she'd always ask about the races, and she'd always have something good to say. There was never any negativity, even though it was something that she didn't really want to do herself, or she never did. But she was always there to push me for what I wanted and what I deserved in life. And growing up, she was like that too. She was always there to say yes or no when I needed it. So I think she's my main, even though she's not here nowadays, she's always there for me.
And I'll bet she was very proud of you.
I've been told she was, and she said it herself too.
I'm
So
sure she was.
yeah,
And now you carry her in your heart, I'll bet, when you're out doing stuff.
yeah. Actually, when I did my last half marathon or I guess it was my third ever half marathon that I did in 2018. And there was a girl that I had run a couple runs with the year previous, and she had told me a trick that when it starts getting tough, take and dedicate that kilometer to someone, and it'll help the time pass by, sort of deal. And when I was coming in for the finish line, I had like 2 or 3K left of that half marathon at the Legs for Literacy that year. And last 3 kilometers, I dedicated to who I used to be, the girl that needed strength and confidence. And then the next one was my dad, and then the home stretch kilometer was my nan.
Yeah, you're always going to hold your nan
Yeah,
dear to your heart, especially when you're running.
Yeah.
It's kind of like me and my father.
Exactly.
I hold him. I mean, I haven't seen him for years, but he's still there.
Yeah, and he's always going to be. He's always going to be in the back of your head, right?
Absolutely.
So, and same with Nan. She never a sports person. She's not an athlete herself, and she wasn't anything to do with sports, but she's still one of my biggest motivations. Along with her, I think just to help others. I guess, is another motivation. Not just a person in general, but just people. More than one person. Just I want to make sure people know that anything's capable.
Yeah, the only thing that limits us is our own minds.
Yeah, your own competition is who's in the mirror facing you.
You're in competition with yourself all the time, and
Yep.
a lot of times we just don't realize it.
Yeah, it's one-on-one, and it's with yourself a lot of times.
Yeah, we like to think, oh, I'm in competition with this person or that person. Yeah, to a certain degree, but you're more in competition with yourself.
You're competing with that voice in your head sometimes that's telling you to quit.
Yes.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's when you got to push harder and say, no,
No, I'm going
not today.
I've heard that voice several times.
Me too. And sometimes that voice wins, but usually not. Most of the time, not. You just push it down and push it out of there.
Like I said, the psychological aspect of all of this is humongous. If you go out and decide, I'm going to run this half marathon or whatever, and you go and you do it, but you're in your mind, you're sure you're not going to be able to do it. You're probably going to find some way to not be able to do it.
Who was it that said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right?
I don't know, but it sounds very, very good.
Yeah, it
'Cause
does.
it's true. It's true, and that's why it's well said, because it's absolutely 100% true.
Exactly.
It was Henry Ford.
Yeah, well, he's right.
He's right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's you that decides what's going to happen. No one else.
Like now, Shawna, she was talking about at some point she wants to run a marathon, but right now is not that time because she's trying to do so many other things.
Timing is everything. You can't.
Timing is everything. Yeah.
And I think, like, even though COVID's kind of been a pain in the ass for so many people, it's kind of been a positive thing in my running, because I've learned that I can handle different things in running, and I'm training different things that I didn't do last year, and I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, like running up that hill in the grass back and forth, and
Exactly.
No, and you can't do it all at once. And I do know that it was the great runner Kipchoge. How do you say his name? Kipchoge, who said you can't chase two rabbits at once.
Nope.
You can only chase one rabbit.
The only way you can chase two rabbits is if you clone yourself, and I haven't figured that out yet, so it's not happening.
Someday, right? Someday it'll happen.
Someday.
For sure.
If only I could run the marathon and the half marathon at the same time.
That would be an accomplishment.
And a fast mile. But I think what he was saying was you can't train for speed for a short distance at the same time that you're training for a marathon, endurance for a marathon. You can't train for speed and distance at the same time. No, you can incorporate speed training into your marathon training program, but you can't be training specifically for a fast mile at the same time that you're training for a marathon. I think that's what he was trying to get at.
Yeah, I think so too.
Absolutely. And I agree with him 100%. Well, is there anything else you wanted to say, Shawna? Is there anything else you wanted to go over this evening?
I think we've covered a lot tonight, John.
Well, we have.
And I really enjoyed it.
It's been great. I enjoy talking to you. Diane enjoys talking to you. People out there listening enjoy listening to you.
For sure.
Because you're very inspiring, very positive, and hard work and good ethics. I mean, that's what we want.
If you could probably see me right now, I think I might be blushing a little bit.
Take a selfie.
Yeah, take another selfie. I seen the last one, by the way. I was looking at it. That's a great pic.
Well, you guys can steal it if you need to.
Okay, we will. Done. Consider it done. I have one last question.
Okay.
Looking ahead to the future, where do you see yourself at 40?
Oh, that's still a ways away.
Yes, but it's going to be here faster than you think.
I know. I have a feeling that's true.
40 is great.
I wouldn't know.
Okay.
What, you don't remember?
No, I'm too old to remember what 40 was.
40-year-old me. I hope to be able to still be running. I do know that.
You will have run at least one marathon by then.
I hope so. At least one.
Trust me, you can still run at 40.
Oh, I hope so. If Frank Kelly can run at age 68, that when he started, I think I can run at 40.
If I can start running at 50, you can still be running at 40,
That is very true.
right?
I think by the time I hit 40, I'd just be settled down in life and have stable going. Like, hopefully be married with kids, but still be an athlete in some aspect and helping others. I want to keep doing stuff like this. So if I can keep doing that later on in life, I'd be really happy.
Hmm. And I can guarantee that when you reach 40, you will not have lost any of your sparkle.
I hope not.
No, you
I hope I
won't.
don't lose any of it. I hope I keep gaining.
It's too bad you didn't have a little more time, because I know you really don't have time. Because if you did, you could have a podcast of your own and help people that way.
And people would listen to you.
You never
Oh, yes.
know what the future holds, John.
Yeah, well, it's just something to keep in mind because, you're very inspiring. Why not, right? But the reason why is because you don't have the time right now.
Yes.
Trust me, there's
Right
a
now,
lot
I
of time
don't have the
involved.
time.
So, yeah, so you can't right now, or you choose to do other things right now, which is great because you're on a certain track and you got to get there before you decide to veer off to another track.
Exactly. I'm 27. I'm single. I don't have any kids. I just have my work, my athlete stuff, and my friends and family. So I'm kind of just floating as the day goes by and just enjoying it.
And it sounds like your life is full right now.
It is quite full.
But at some point, you're probably going to, like you said, you're probably going to settle down somewhat, and things will
Find
change
someone
up.
crazy enough to make me settle down, then we'll go from there.
Yeah, and then you'll come back on the podcast and we'll talk about those crazy days. Well, in the interest of time, I think we'll leave it there for this evening. Shawna, it's been so spectacular to have your sparkle back on our podcast one more time, and I so hope that you come back again soon.
I would love to, John. Just let me know when and where, and we'll get hooked up again. And hopefully my technology issue will be solved by then.
That's all right. I mean, we live with the technology. We die by the technology. It's all good. Anybody in New Brunswick that's listening to this knows if you live in rural New Brunswick, you have technology issues with the internet at time to time. Anyone around here knows that. And if they don't, well, they've never been in the country in rural New Brunswick.
Exactly.
So we'll wrap it up there for this evening. For Shawna Allaby and Diana Trites, I'm John Lagroff. And thanks for listening to Motivate to Move. Good night and come back soon.
And we'll see you next time.
Good night, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.